Hi, I'm Art Halloran. I'm at the Menkins Ranch to give you a site tour of the Huasna oil field and to show how it sits in relation to the Huasna Valley and to explain our plans for the project. And we'll answer questions and concerns we've heard about the site. Joining me today is Tim Cleath, a hydrogeologist who has studied the groundwater in Huasna over the last 25 years, and Charlie Catherman, a local geologist specializing in the relationship of groundwater and oil development, and is a member of the advisory committee for Excelaron. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good morning.
Tim and Charlie will speak later about the use of water in relation to our project, but first let me tell you about our company Excelaron. Excelaron is a California corporation formed and based in San Luis Obispo. It is a joint venture between two oil exploration companies, Australian Oil Company and United Hunter Oil and Gas. Both are publicly traded companies. Our company managers have more than a century of combined experience in oil discovery and production in the United States and around the world. With our knowledge and know-how, we are ideally qualified to responsibly undertake and operate the existing Huasna oil field operation. And it's very important to note that none of the previous owners and operators are involved in this project. Let's head up the road and take a look at our plan. As you can see, we are traveling on private property on an existing road to the site. This model, built to scale, gives a perspective of the remoteness of the oil field. We'll stop at the proposed shipping site and the two well pads as we head up the hill. People ask why Huasna and why now? Simply put, we choose to invest in the Huasna oil field because the oil is here. Drilling first took place adjacent to the Huasna Valley in the late 1800s and then again in the 30s, 60s, and 80s. The oil produced on this site is heavy crude. It was difficult in those days to extract this type of oil. But today, with new technology, we can easily remove this type of oil that is used primarily in road building, fertilizers, and other important products. We believe as much as 1,000 barrels of oil per day can come from this oil field. Unlike large producers such as Dutch Shell, BP, or ExxonMobil, Excelaron is a small oil company. Companies like ours produce 60% of the U.S. oil supply. It's small independent oil producers like Excelaron that will help America break its dependency on foreign oil. In fact, a San Luis Obispo county-wide survey found that 80% of the local residents agree that the United States must find ways to develop more domestic oil reserves. And 60% of our local citizens support oil exploration in our county. We're at the proposed shipping site where the crude oil will be transferred into tankers for transport. This site is about 1.8 miles from the Huasna Townsite Road and located in the secluded canyon. Okay, let's head up the road to drill pad number 1. Excelaron's plans call for improvements to the existing road with minor disturbance of natural resources. Excelaron inherited the abandoned wells and tanks from previous drilling. We initiated a cleanup led by the California Division of Oil, Gas, and Geothermal Resources. The cleanup was paid for by funds available from the oil industry and a bond from a previous operator. Today, the drill site is uncontaminated. We're approximately 2.3 miles from Huasna Townsite Road. The drill site is situated in a secluded area blocked by hills and not visible to virtually all of Huasna Valley. Okay, let's go on up to well pad number 2. We're about 2.6 miles from the Huasna Townsite Road, and like pad number 1, this site is blocked by hills and trees from the valley floor. Excelaron's initial plan is to drill and evaluate 4 wells. If the field is found not commercially viable, we'll clean up the site and discontinue the project. Charlie will explain how we intend to use water to extract the heavy crude.
Excelaron's plans call for using a hot water injection process whereby salty or saline water associated with the deep oil producing zone will be heated on site and injected back into the oil zone. This enables the heavy viscous crude, which is like molasses, to be thinned and efficiently extracted and then separated from the water at the surface. This deep salty water will be pumped via the oil wells out of the Monterey Formation along with the oil into a large storage tank, separated from the oil, and then pumped into 2 heated 10,000-gallon tanks, and finally re-injected down the existing oil wells. Obviously, this heated water will be recycled and reheated multiple times. At this point, I'll let Tim address the local geology, the origin of the heated water, and how the area's fresh water wells will not be impacted by this operation.
The proposed source of water used for a hot water injection comes from a different, older geologic formation than the freshwater aquifers tapped by water wells on the valley floor. This source of non-potable water is separated by thousands of feet of impermeable formation from overlying freshwater aquifers in Huasna Valley. So, as you can see, pumping from this source and injecting this water into the oil-bearing strata will have no impact on domestic or agricultural wells in Huasna Valley. In O'Leary Canyon, a few rural residences on parcels next to the project rely on water wells producing poor quality water from these older geologic formations for domestic and stock watering purposes. Excelaron proposes to monitor groundwater conditions in this area and mitigate any impact to those water wells resulting from the oil field operations. Equally important is that state and the county regulations require that the design and construction of each of the oil wells include heavy-walled steel casing with annular cement seals placed opposite any potential freshwater zones to preclude any contamination from the oil extraction process.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Tim. Additionally, historic data shows us that there is an insignificant amount of underground gas in this oil field. There will be no odor associated with this drilling, and any gas would be captured and utilized. There is no chance of strong smells, as has been a problem at the Price Canyon oil field. During initial drilling, we will take measures to abate noise. Eventually, the drill will be replaced by quiet pumps, and the 2 10,000-gallon water tanks will be available for emergency use in case of fire. Now let's talk about the route of the tanker trucks. Our tanker trucks will leave Menkins Ranch, travel a short distance east on Huasna Townsite Road, and out a private road through Porter Ranch. They will use this route for both entering and leaving the valley. I'm standing in front of the entrance of a private road on Porter's Ranch where the tanker trucks will travel. Excelaron has committed $1.2 million in improvements to Huasna Creek Bridge and the trucking route. During bad weather, when the Twitchell Reservoir rises and the road floods, Excelaron will suspend operations until the route is accessible. One of the most important aspects of the Excelaron Huasna oil field project is that it will create jobs in this county, more than 100 over the life of the project. We are currently working with local companies to service different aspects of the project, representing more than 25 jobs in the county. Construction workers and contractors will be hired for infrastructure improvements, and we will hire 36 full-time and 10 to 15 part-time employees. This project will generate $100,000 in tax revenue per year, revenues that can be used to improve services for seniors and kids and to maintain parks and improve our Central Coast quality of life. Our most important goal is to be a responsible neighbor in the Huasna Valley. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you have questions or comments or interested in the latest news on the project, please go to the website address on the screen. Thank you very much for watching.